So here's the problem. You hire somebody like me and my boss. We're both former, he's McKinsey, I'm Bain. You hire management consultants and you get this. 120 pages with slides that look like that. Okay? Yeah, is that gripping? Does that really inform us in terms of what to do? Does that break down those walls? Or does that confuse and daze people? Well, you guys probably know. So thank God we're about to launch our innovation sort of agenda to the entire company. And 2 months prior to that, my boss, bless him, Stephen Duell, who reports into our CEO, read this book. And it changed everything, okay? And I highly recommend if you have never read this book, you better buy it today. It is such a great book. It's sort of our Bible, not only for our innovation effort, but for our strategy teams, for our consumer insights team, anyone that's sort of put into a role where you're an internal consultant. I highly recommend this book. It's called Switch. It is by Chip and Dan Heath. Chip is a professor down at Stanford, and we worked closely with them in terms of rethinking and retooling how we were going to launch our innovation agenda, okay? So let me explain a little bit about the basic analogy and concept of what they cover in the book. Imagine, if you will, a 2-ton elephant with a 150-pound rider with the goal of going from point A to point B. So what they talk about in their book is you need to do 3 things in order to get that elephant from point A to point B, okay? The first is you need to provide some very clear instructions to the rider, okay? The rider represents our analytical side. It represents our brain, okay? And the brain needs to know and not be overwhelmed in terms of what are the simple instructions to go from A to B. Now, the elephant, the reason the elephant's so much bigger than the rider is if the elephant isn't motivated, and the elephant represents our emotional side, okay? Our head could tell us everything we want to hear, but if emotionally we're not engaged with wanting to do that change, that elephant ain't going to move. You know, I'm not going to bet on the rider. I'm going to bet on the elephant. And a good analogy of this is, any of you tried losing weight? We all know what to do. It's really simple, right? Eat less, eat healthier, exercise, okay? That's it, 3 simple things, right? But boy, when we see that chocolate cake sitting there in the fridge and it's like 10:30 at night and we hear our stomach grumble, I mean, it's habitual, it's an emotional response. You can't help yourself, right? So that's why this analogy of not only do you need to instruct the analytical side, you need to talk to the heart, okay? And lastly, you need to shape the path. Think about this idea, you need to put reminders, guardrails, or signposts to sort of keep you in that path. I think we heard one of the speakers today, or I think it was Justin, was talking about how they put selfies and they lowered the cubicle walls. Those are path items, okay? You put things in people's way that actually help remind them to do the behaviors you want. So this is an analogy. From the book, they have 9 chapters. We basically focused on 5 of the chapters that really seem to resonate and work for us, and I'm going to share those with you today, okay?